Hi everyone, my name is Deepa Rana. I'm an escalation engineer here at Riverbed. And in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up key-based SSH authentication required for NetProfiler Backup. NetProfiler Backup feature securely copies traffic and configuration information to a specified backup system. And in order to make use of this feature, there are two basic requirements. First, the backup server should be SSH capable, supporting SCP4 file transfer. Second, NetProfiler should be able to do key-based authentication via SSH to the backup destination. So for the first requirement, you need to select the backup server like any Linux machine that supports SCP. It is also possible to use Flow Gateway appliance as a backup destination. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate setting up key-based SSH authentication for both scenario, that is Flow Gateway as a backup destination or any Linux machine as a backup destination. So let's get started. We are going to start with Flow Gateway as a backup server scenario. In order to achieve key-based SSH authentication, we need to first find the SSH public key for the Mazu account on NetProfiler, which would be under the directory opt cascade vault SSH Mazu. Simply go to that directory. Here, if you list the content of this directory, you will find this id_rsa.pub file, which is SSH public key for the Mazu account. We need to copy the content of this file, and for that, you can make use of cat or less utility. Copy the content and save it on the notepad. Now, the next step is to add this copied key into SSH authorized keys file on backup server, which is Flow Gateway in our case. So let's go to the Flow Gateway and change to the directory opt cascade vault SSH Mazu again. Here, if you list the content of this directory, you will see that authorized_keys2 file, where we need to add this copied key on the notepad. In order to do that, simply make use of VI editor. Press enter. Press I to enter into insert mode. And that's where you have to copy the key from the notepad and paste it over here. Press escape to go out of insert mode. Then press shift plus colon. That's when colon will appear on the bottom of screen. Just press W as in right and Q and hit enter. With this, we have successfully established key-based SSH authentication between NetProfiler and backup server, which is Flow Gateway. To test the same, go to NetProfiler CLI and use command SSH mazu @ hostname or IP address of your Flow Gateway. Here you can see that it didn't ask for any password and it successfully logged into Flow Gateway. So this task is done. Next step is to create a directory on Flow Gateway where we will store that backup file. Usually MNT data is preferred for that. So I'm just going to create a directory under MNT data to store those backup files. Use command mkdir mnt data backup to create that backup directory. Please make sure to use sudo in front of it. Otherwise, it won't allow you to create it. Then use command sudo chmod to set the permission. I'm just going to set it read, write, execute for all. Once that's done, you can view the directory. You can see it's created now and the permissions are set as what we have given. Now to run the backup, simply go to NetProfiler GUI, navigate to administration under system operations backup. And it will take you to the page of backup. Here on the top, it will display the status of backup that was run last time. To run a new backup, just simply go to this Run Backup tab and start filling up the details, like what files you want to include in the backup and what files you want to exclude. Here, I'm just going to run config only backup, so I'm going to leave it default. Enter the username as Mazu, because for that, we have copied the public key. And then host name or IP address of the Flow Gateway, because in our scenario, Flow Gateway is acting as a backup server. The path would be MNT data backup, what we have created for this backup. Create an encryption password. All the sensitive data in the backup image is encrypted with AES 256 encryption using this password. This password is required in order to restore this image. So make sure to keep it saved. And lastly, just hit on Run Backup. As you can see on the screen, it started. I usually monitor backup logs to see if it's done or not. So let's go over there. From the logs, you can see it is now done. Let's go to the GUI and refresh this page. Bingo. You can see even from here, the backup is completed and the backup is stored now on this. So let's go to the Flow Gateway. And actually view the content of this backup directory. You can see the backup directory is now being created under this backup directory that we have created. With that, we have successfully completed the NetProfiler backup with Flow Gateway as backup server. Similarly, let's do it for any Linux machine as a backup server. So first step would be same, that is to get the SSH public key for the Mazu account on the NetProfiler, which we already have saved on Notepad. The next step is to copy this file on the Linux server. Similarly, what we have done for Flow Gateway. So let's log in into Linux server. Here, I have already created and logged in with the user Mazu on this machine where I will be working. So first navigate to the home directory of user Mazu. As you can see on the screen, I'm already on the home directory of user Mazu. Here, usually you will find a hidden directory with name.ssh, under which you will find a file name authorized_keys or authorized_keys2 file, where we will need to copy the key which we have on Notepad. But in case if it's missing, like what we have on this lab, it's not there. .ssh directory is not there. In this kind of scenario, you can create it on your own as well. And for that, use command. Make sure to set the privileges right on this directory, which should be read, write, execute only for the owner of that file. Once the directory has been created, go to that directory. And now we have to create that authorized keys or authorized underscore key to file. Usually the Linux machine will look for both files, but in case you have made any modification to your SSH config, then the behavior could vary. In order to check the SSH config of your Linux machine, simply use command. It will ask for the password, so provide the user password. Here you need to go to this line where it is written. The default is to check both of these files, but if you have overwritten it, then it is only going to check this particular file, right? So if you have this statement over here, currently it's been commented out, which means it's going to check both the files. But if it's not being commented out, in that case, it's going to check only this file, right? So that's the SSH configuration for this machine. Accordingly, you can check on your Linux machine. Now we have to create that authorized keys that we will be creating with the help of touch utility. Make sure to set the right permission on this file, that is read and write only for user. Once that's done, you can see the file is now being created and permissions are showing correctly as what we have configured. After that done, we have to edit this file and include that key which we have on Notepad to be present in this file. And for that, you can make use of VI editor. So the command would be same, sudo VI, and then the name of file. Here you have to press I to go into the insert mode. And once you go into the insert mode, you will see insert appearing on the bottom of the screen. That's when you have to copy the key and paste it over here. So I'm just going to copy the key. And paste it. Once that's done, go out of insert mode by pressing escape and then shift plus colon. Once you do that, a colon will appear on the bottom of screen, and then you have to type W as in write and Q as in quit, and then press enter. To view the content of this file, again, you can use less or cat utility. You can see here the file has been modified. With this, we have successfully established key-based authentication between NetProfiler and this backup server. To test the same, you can go to the NetProfiler CLI and try to do the SSH for it. So let's do that. You can see it is able to log in into it without asking for any password. So it's successful. Once that's done, the next step is to create a directory on the Linux server like we did on the Flow Gateway to store the NetProfiler backup file. I'm gonna again go to my home directory, and over here only, I'm gonna create a directory with the name backup. Make sure to set the permissions right on this backup directory so that the NetProfiler can create the backup directories. So let's confirm if the same has been created. You can see it has been created. So now let's go to the NetProfiler GUI and enter the details, and let's see if it's getting successful. We are going to enter user as Mazu. Here, the Linux backup server IP. And the path would be home, Mazu, and then the backup directory that we have created. So absolute path of that directory. Again, we have to create an encryption password and then just hit on run backup. Okay, so you can see the process has been started. Now let's wait for it to complete. So as you can see on the GUI, it is now completed and the backup is stored on this directory. So let's go to the Linux server and see if this backup file actually exists over there. So you can see from here, the backup directory is created, and with that, the task is done. And we have completed both the scenario, that is Flow Gateway as a backup server and the Linux machine or host as a backup server. I hope you liked the video and thank you so much for watching.